Hey, how much does personal training in South Shields actually cost? Let's go and find out. So just looking on Google here, there's over 20 listed personal trainers in the South Shields area. For a small town of South Shields, that's quite saturated. And don't get me wrong, I know quite a few of these people, and there's some great options out there. But how much does it really cost to work one-to-one with a PT? Well, I'm going to take you in this video on a little journey about what's good about it, what's bad, what the alternatives are, and what I'd actually recommend that you do based on your preferences and your goals. You can see it now, can't you? Headlines of the Gazette tomorrow. Personal trainer orders McDonald's for lunch. It's a little bit better than tells you how to run away from terrorists. Let's go. So on average, when it comes to personal training, you are looking at least, for a decent personal trainer, for a one-to-one session for probably an hour, minimum £30. Now, if anyone's charging less than £30 for a one-to-one session, they probably don't have very much time in the game, as in haven't been in it quite a few years. They as well probably haven't invested in themselves very much in terms of putting cash towards their growth and development and their skill set, because £30 an hour is average for a personal trainer. So expect to pay at least that for a decent personal trainer who knows what they're talking about. Let's go. So I'm a firm believer that you really get what you pay for. I know some guys who are 40, 50, even upwards of £60 per hour because they've invested themselves for many years, some even decades. They've got a lot of knowledge, skills, they value their time, and they also produce a great result for the time that they spend with the client. But you've got to consider the average price, possibly £30. If you're going to book a session of 10 one-to-one sessions with a trainer, you're looking at £300. So if we want to work that out as in, like, let's say you were to do 3 sessions a week, which is average, 3, 4 possibly if you want to take it up a notch, then that's not going to last very long, is it? So I wanted to do this video to really get into the stats of it and explain to you why you should do it and if there is any other alternatives out there. Now, the problem a lot of people make when they're looking to book a personal trainer to get in shape is that often they make the mistake of booking sessions. Now, session isn't going to get you what you want because sessions are not the number one thing. The number one thing that you actually want is results, don't you? You want confidence, you want energy, you want weight loss, you want your bad back fixed, you want your mental health supercharged, you want your energy up high, right? You want a result. And just because you book 5 or 10 sessions doesn't mean that result is going to happen. So people make the mistake first off of thinking sessions. You should never look for a personal trainer looking to book sessions. You should look for that proven track record of results and what they can do for you. So let's get into the overall cost of it, right? Because this is a big factor when it comes to determining how you're going to get in shape. Because let's be honest, how many unused gym memberships have you had where you've thrown 20 quid a month at it, a £5 a week, not give a shit, and you've never really used it for 6 months? And so you've wasted a couple of £100 not doing anything, but you bought it because it was cheap, you thought you'd use it, you had good intentions, but let's be honest, you get what you pay for, and you pay attention to what you actually pay for. The more expensive the service, the more you pay attention to it, the more expensive the product, the more you look after it. The more expensive the things in your house, the more you take pristine care of those things. And we know this to be true, right? So cheap gym memberships seldom work. They do for some people, but for a lot of people, they need that personal approach. They need that accountability. That's ultimately why you hire a personal trainer. But if we get into the logistics of the cost, if you're looking at £30 per session, let's just say for argument's sake, right? Then if you were to do that 3 times per week, that's £90 per week for 3 one-to-one sessions. Now, you might get some nutritional advice on that, you might get a diet plan, you might get check-ins, but a lot of the time you might just get one-to-one with a personal trainer at a gym for £90 a week. That's £360 a month, training 3 times a week. If you wanted to up that and train 4 times a week, which is what a lot of people do when they're looking to change their lifestyle, train more days of the week than not, then you'd be looking at £730 for 4 one-to-one sessions with an average regular personal trainer. Now, I get that's not an easy chunk. Valuable for some, I get it. They really value that personal connection. They really value that one-to-one time. They value their own program and they need coached literally one-to-one specifically. I do get that. But for the majority of people, £700 is probably not sustainable, for most people anyway. But what if I told you there was a possibly potentially better option than one-to-one training at a fraction of the cost that worked even better? Let me do a caveat to this. When I say even better, that always depends on the person. See, if you're the type of person who is lazy and puts in no effort outside, who just wants to eat McDonald's and go to the gym a couple of times a week and eat Greggs every day and party and drink on the weekend 10 pints, then the likelihood is you're not going to get very much out of it, because at the end of the day, you cannot out-train a bad diet. Now, I'm sitting here with a McDonald's because we're doing some content on McDonald's, and I've been eating a few of the fries and they're fucking delicious. However, I couldn't eat this all the time and be in the shape I'm in. I couldn't eat this all the time and feel mentally sharp. I couldn't eat this all the time and get great results. And you probably know that too. However, what if there was a solution where you didn't have to pay 700 odd pounds, where you could pay less than half of that and get even better results? Well, there is, and it's called group training. Now, when it comes to group training, most people's perception is that they'll be the fattest in the room, they'll be the slowest, they'll look stupid, you know, they'll be the most uncoordinated, they'll feel daft. And I totally get that, and that's a legitimate concern. That's why a lot of people ask at first, do you do one-to-one? Because they don't want to look silly in a group. Then what happens is the procrastination of, I'll lose weight first, then I'll join. When really, you join and then you lose weight. You can go down the one-to-one route, but the issue with one-to-one is that sometimes you're not going to get the energy, the vibe, the atmosphere. Sometimes you're not going to make new friends and find a community and a group of people who are on the same mission as you. Sometimes it might be just you and a PT standing in the room talking about your problems, which is often what a lot of PTs go through. They go through becoming the agony aunt, the therapist of the person they're standing in front of, and all it does is exaggerate the problems. Sure, they're doing something positive, but a lot of the time, if you're not around a great group of people, you just end up talking complaints and problems. And that can happen. It can, but people can also have a very pleasant experience with personal training. I'm not knocking it in this video at all. I think there's definitely a place for it. I'm simply offering another perspective of what could possibly happen if people broaden their mind a bit, because a lot of people just think that getting in shape, they need a personal trainer. You might, but you also might benefit from the group training side of things. Perhaps a previous experience has put you in a negative limelight. Perhaps you tried a boxing session or a boot camp or a martial arts class, and you were made to do something that was humiliating, or you just felt really slow because everyone around you was 30 years younger or something like that, and you've been really put off it for life. But what if you were in a supportive and motivating environment that wasn't full of blokes who were 25 years old and broccoli heads with low-cut vests and six-packs flexing in the mirror? What if you were around real blokes who were supportive and encouraging, people who were maybe in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, and helping each other to thrive and push each other and encourage each other along the way? Now, there's 3 reasons why I personally think group training could be better for you than personal training alone. Number 1 is the high energy aspect of it. If you go to a gym and train with a personal trainer, you can get great results. Like I say, I know lots of personal trainers and they produce great results, and it works very well for some people. I can't knock it. I'm simply offering a different perspective, and when it comes to energy, when you go into an environment with one person and one person, there's no lively mood, there's no high energy, there's no sort of being on top, like, fuck me, I feel alive now. You might have that hard training session which makes you feel good, but when you're around 20, 25, 30 people who are bouncing and thriving and the place is jumping like a nightclub, it feels fucking motivating, man. It feels really motivating. So one thing I think that where group training is better than personal training is the energy vibe in the environment. Providing you've got the right people and the right coach, of course, I think that makes a massive difference to want to turn up. Even if you know when you're low and tired and you can't be bothered, you get there and you feel like you've went into literally a high energy nightclub. That's a great experience to have, and that keeps you coming back and wanting more. I'm a firm believer that it's very difficult in a one-to-one setting to replicate that high energy, and I think it could be quite actually boring in some way. And I find that a lot of people who've came to me for group training have found the same experience, that it's just not the same because the energy can't be replicated. I'm all about energy and creating a vibe and environment that lifts people up and gets people motivated and moving. And I think that's very contagious and a great vibe to have when you're thinking about training longer term. Number 2 is community, and I think that's very difficult to do maybe in a standard commercial gym when you're working one-to-one with a PT or in a private gym, is that you want to be around people on the same mission as you, who can support you, who can encourage you, who can maybe even challenge you, because let's be honest, maybe your mates or your work circles or your family, maybe they're just pissheads. Maybe they just want to drag you out on the drink, the sniff coke. Maybe, you know, they're negative and they're low energy. But when you're around a community of people who are looking after themselves, and there's a lot of people doing the same thing, you are always positively influenced, because at the end of the day, your standards will either raise to the level of your peer group or lower to the level of your peer group, depending on what they choose to do. You're always highly influenced by the top 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you spend your most time with pissheads and negative people, don't be surprised when you get dragged down with them as well. So changing your circle into a group community of fitness is a great stretch forward when it comes to getting you on track with your health and fitness goals. Number 3 on the reason why I feel group training is better than personal training is because of the combined reduced cost to keep going. Like I said before, £700 and odd for 6 weeks worth of training is quite a lot of money for most people. £700 for just 6 weeks worth of personal training. And that in itself might only be 6 weeks worth of sessions. You might not get any extra accountability after it. You might not get group support. You might not get any social aspect of that. You might not get personalized nutrition for that. You might just get a session 3 to 4 times a week for over 700 quid. That's quite a hefty investment. But for 6 weeks with Total Supercharged Tribe, my personal bespoke group training program, which gives you online group support, a great community vibe, a phone call or text if you don't show up, community walks, coffees, sea dips, mountain climbs, regular Q&As where all your questions are answered, and most importantly, a coach who genuinely gives a shit about you and wants you to succeed and offers a 100% money back guarantee if you don't get the result, providing you follow the plan, of course. I think that speaks volumes. And the price for 6 whole weeks with Total Supercharged Tribe is not £720, but actually the same price as a Big Mac meal per day. 7 quid. 7 quid. And I've ate most of these fries because they're bloody lovely. And the thing is, when you're coached properly and you train hard, you can afford to eat the odd McDonald's. You can afford to go to the odd Greg's. You can afford to eat the odd pizza. Because guess what? You use it constructively. You use it right. You don't demonize food. You don't beat yourself up for having a weekend off. You have the consistency and the routine and the accountability and the coaching to know what to do if you ever fall off track. So for 6 weeks with TST, for less than half the price of personal training, you could get double the result, double the energy, double the impact to your life. What kind of results can you expect in 6 weeks with us? Training 3 to 4 days a week inside of a group training program. Well, what about upwards stone in weight loss and 2 belt notches tightened? What about having supercharged energy and having your motivation back on top form so that you handle your emotions and your relationships better in life? What about getting your mental health and your mindset sharp and on track so you're more focused at work and everybody's inspired by your new attitude? What about transforming your mindset completely with someone who's a qualified mindset transformation coach who will help you upgrade this thinking to a bulletproof mindset to make you feel unstoppable and completely supercharged in your health and energy? Hey, I'm not knocking personal training. I think it's a great idea and it'll definitely work for some people. But if you've been considering it, there's many options out there. And there's a lot of people in South Shields I'd recommend. If I was to give a few shout outs to 4 people who I highly respect and appreciate in South Shields, number 1 is my partner Tracy Holmes, who runs Tracy's Ladies Fitness, the best female fitness coach you'll ever see. I'd like to give a shout out to James Hatton, who's absolutely magnificent. I'd like to give a shout out to my old mate Steve Bagnall, who's a great lad as well, and Grant Henson, who's helped us a lot over the years as well. There are many other personal trainers and coaches in South Shields who are worth working with, and I can't recommend working with a coach in some capacity more highly than ever getting just a gym membership. If you don't have any background in training, any background in nutrition, any background in getting in shape, why the fuck are you trying to figure it out on your own? Hire a coach, hire a personal trainer, go to a boot camp, get a boxing session, do a martial arts class. And if you want the option of another different result, then Total Supercharged Tribe is here for you. There is more than enough personal trainers and fat people to go around in South Shields. None of us need to be at each other's throats. Nobody needs to be one-upping anybody. People need to be working together to help the community and make sure that mental and physical health are on form. That's the number 1 fucking goal. Help people get healthy, in shape, and feel fucking amazing. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed these fries, which I very rarely get. But I got them for a video and I thought, I'll just have one. And look where this has taken us. Down a fucking magnificent rabbit hole of McDonald's fries. I'm not going to eat the Big Mac, I promise. Or will I? If you think I'm going to eat the Big Mac, comment below. Say, yes, you ate the Big Mac. Or no, you didn't. You bottled it. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. See you on the next video. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, and click the subscribe button and turn notifications on so you are notified of every new video that drops every single week here on the channel. And also, if you would like a free copy of my second book, Supercharged, the modern day guide to creating outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control, then I've got it on audio right now. All you need to do is go to superchargedaudio.com, enter your details, and it's yours to your email inbox for free. Let's go. See you on the next video.